In this video tutorial, we're going to look at attaching our style sheet to our HTML page and adding our first rule to style our page. So to begin with, just briefly, I want to talk about the different ways that you can style your pages using CSS, and we'll get into this more during the course. But essentially, there are three different ways that we can use CSS to style pages. We can attach an external style sheet and put our styles in that style, which will then govern the way that our pages look across the site. Or we can embed the styles into individual pages, which will then style just those pages that the CSS rules reside in. And then lastly, there's inline styling, where we can actually apply styles to elements right within the HTML page itself. What we'll be doing mostly in this course is using an external style sheet and multiple external style sheets eventually to style our pages. And one of the advantages to doing this is, first of all, that it cuts down the amount of actual code inside the HTML page, allowing us to just devote HTML documents to HTML code. But the second advantage is that any style that we create in a style sheet that's attached to multiple pages across our site allows us to apply those rules. For example, body color or text fonts. It allows us to apply those rules across multiple pages in our site by altering the code in one document. And so that's a real advantage and one of the reasons why it's used primarily for designing sites across the web. So to attach our external style sheet that we created in the previous video tutorial, we simply make sure that we have the HTML page selected, and we do here. We've got it open, the index.html page, and then we go across to the CSS styles panel here, and at the bottom of the style panel you'll see a small little icon, looks like a link, and if you hover your mouse over it, it says attach style sheet. You simply click on that, and then if it doesn't, it will automatically locate the file. If yours does not say desktop CSS straight away, you can click the browse button and navigate to the root folder, so the folder on the desktop that we created, our root folder, and inside that root folder you should see desktop CSS that we created previously. Simply select that file and click open, and you should now see it in this window. Leave everything else default and click OK. So now that we have the style sheet attached, if you look at your HTML code, underneath the title tag in your page, you'll see that it says link href desktop.css style sheet type text CSS. So that's just a way of saying that we have the desktop CSS attached to this document and can now start adding rules from that CSS document. So let's add our first CSS rule and see how this works. To add our first rule, we're simply going to go once again to the CSS styles panel over here and look for this small little icon at the bottom of the panel. It looks like a page with a plus sign on it, and if you hover over it, it says new CSS rule. Simply click on that, and the selector type pop-up menu appears in Dreamweaver, and it says choose a contextual selector type for your CSS rule. Now, if you click on that, you'll notice there are 4 different types of CSS rules. that we can choose. And we'll be using all of these different types in different contexts throughout the course. They're all very, very common and used often. But the one that we'll be using right now is the tag type. And we're going to click on that. And perhaps Dreamweaver did on your site, as it did on mine, it already chose the body tag. And that's because that's where my cursor was blinking already in the Dreamweaver page. If it doesn't say body on yours, simply click on the pop-up menu and choose body from the list. Or if you know exactly the HTML rule, the HTML tag that you want to style, you can just simply type it in there as well. So we're going to style the body of our page. And the rule definition, where it's going to be defined, is going to be inside our desktop CSS. So we go ahead and click OK. And the rule that we're going to apply simply now is the background category. So we simply go to category, choose background, and from the color picker, from the background color area, we're going to click on this. And I'm going to choose a background color from here, from my list of colors. And I'm going to keep it fairly passive and use this like, click on that. So choose the color that you want. And then click, before you click apply, OK, click apply to preview it. So now that previews the color, and if I don't like the color from there, I can go ahead and change it. This instead, a sort of a lilac color for the background page, background of my page. And once you've chosen a color that you like for your page, and we can change this easily later, you simply click OK. And now you've created a rule for the body of your page. To see those rules listed in your CSS style panel in Dreamweaver, you simply click on the down arrow here, and you can see next to the down arrow next to desktop CSS, and it reveals all of the rules that you've applied. And so here is the body rule. And if you want to see the way that the CSS has been written by Dreamweaver, you can go down to the File menu and double-click on the desktop CSS file to open it up in Dreamweaver. And you can see that Dreamweaver has written this rule for body into the CSS document here. And so this is how CSS looks. If you ever want to write it manually, this is the syntax that's used for cascading style sheets. And so pretty simple process. Make sure you switch back to the index.html page to be able to go back to designing your page. And so we've added our first rule to our page, and in the next tutorial we're going to add a couple of elements and continue on with our styling to start building our website.